Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a special Friday night edition of Sirhan on X, live from Cincinnati, Ohio, here in the United States. Hope everyone has themselves a wonderful 3rd of December, the calendar year 2025. It, it's getting cold and icy over here, and I'm aware of what's going on in the Midwest. There's supposed to be some kind of snow and ice storm throughout. If you happen to be in the part of that town, I just hope you guys are just find ways to stay safe and keep warm because trying to go outside in these cold conditions is not the greatest. It is certainly not ideal. I did that a few years ago when I was trying to shovel my driveway, and when about 5 minutes in, I felt it, so I literally run back in because I felt like I was afraid I was going to get some kind of frostbite. So, you guys in the Midwest, in the middle of what's about to take place over the next few days here, hope you guys are warm and hope you guys are safe. And for those of you who are watching me live from New Orleans, prayers to everyone uh, due to the terrible terrorist incident that took place. And I hope everybody out there is safe amidst all the chaos that's going on. So hope everyone out there in New Orleans is basically safe. No, they had to move one of the bowl games because of it. Of course, that's where the next Super Bowl is supposed to take place. We'll see what happens. Uh, got some newcomers here tonight. Uh, Shout out to those watching me on Twitch. Uh, for those that wonder, I take a bunch of sports topics, mainly the NFL and boxing, and just rambled about it. Because I said at the end of my show last year, I have a voice and I'm just going to speak my mind. I don't care what anybody says. I mean, everybody has a voice, everybody can use it, everybody has an opinion. Feel free to use it any way you want. Just don't complain about pushback. I'll just leave it at that. I'll talk about the one I had to deal with earlier this morning later. Of course, this weekend is about the seventh seed in the AFC, which means the winner is going to have to travel to Buffalo. More than likely, I think Baltimore has an outside chance. We'll see how that goes. It's between mainly Denver, Miami, and Cincinnati. Uh, Denver basically controls his own destiny, winning in. Miami needs help. Since he needs more than just help. And of course, I'm tied to the topic I'm going to talk about is, of course, Bengals fans running their mouths like a bunch of idiotic morons again about the Chiefs resting players because they want to keep the Bengals out. Well, let's get this out of the way real quick. Denver's going to clinch the seventh seed. They're going to win the finale against Kansas City's practice squad, more than likely. I mean, they got a solid squad. I mean, their defense is stout. And Bo Nix has come on as a rookie quarterback, and they have a nice target in Marvin Mims, who I really like. I mean, they have some nice pieces over there to keep going. They're going to beat Kansas in the finale to clinch that last playoff spot officially. So you might as well rest that. Miami's got the Jets. Uh, you know, Bengals fans are being the morons that they are rooting for Aaron Rodgers. When you root for Aaron Rodgers, you're nothing but a moron. I have nothing to talk to you about, so you can forget that. But it's not going to matter. I think the Dolphins are just going to go in there and put an end to that clown show that's the New York Jets, and we'll see where they go from there. I mean, of course, the talks is Tua's not going to play. They're playing for Tyler Huntley to start, but I don't think that's going to matter because I think Denver's going to clinch the last seed, which of course leads me to Cincinnati going to the game tomorrow night against Pittsburgh. We know they have to find ways to win to stay alive in the playoff race. I'll touch on that here in a minute. Which brings me to the whole shebang. Everyone complains, especially in Miami and Cincinnati, about what Kansas is doing. If you're 15-1, you have the number one seed. You win 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. Do whatever you want. Doesn't matter what Miami says. Doesn't matter what Cincinnati says. Doesn't matter what any average Joe says. Because they have the premier quarterback. They have the premier head coach. Easily, the premier nose tackle in Chris Jones. One of the premier cornerbacks in Trent McDuffie, who I thought was a Pro Bowl snub. Let them do whatever they want because they earned the right. You guys in Miami and Cincinnati need to flat out shut up right now because you guys blew it a long, long time ago. I could point to many examples. Maybe the best one, easy for me, was week 1 against New England here in Cincinnati when your so-called MVP quarterback got outplayed by Jacoby Brissett. That was the end game. Anything that happened after that was mute simply because your quarterback decided not to show up against Jacoby Brissett and the New England Patriots. And also, by the way, that defense got dog walked by Ramondre Stevenson. So your season was lost at that point. Might as well forget it. Miami, Simply put, you don't know how to beat a team with a winning record, just like Cincinnati. And you're probably going to beat the Jets, but it's not going to do you any good because Denver is going to be the rightful winner of that 7 seed because they earned it of the 3 of you right now because they've put together a pretty nice run over the second half of the season. But for the Chiefs, do whatever you want. If you want to play guys, play them. If you don't want to play guys, don't. You've won 3 Super Bowls in the last 5 years. You're barking on a three-peat. You have bigger fish to fry. And no, Bengals, the Chiefs aren't afraid of you. It's just they have bigger fish to fry than your irrelevant butts. So you all just need to flat out just cool it and zip it simply because you don't have a leg to stand on. They can do whatever they want. You guys are irrelevant to them. And when Pittsburgh beats you Saturday night, my prediction officially, all this is going to be put to bed. Maybe losing to Pittsburgh might be the best thing to happen to you because we can squash all this garbage. Root for Aaron Rodgers, root for Carson Wentz to get us in the playoffs, which is just the most moronic thing any human being can do, especially in Cincinnati, to have somebody help you get in the playoffs, a playoff spot you guys never deserved in the first place. You might as well forget it. Why? Because you lost it a long time ago. You let Jacoby Brissett dog walk you week 1. Actually, Jacoby Brissett and Ramondre Stevenson. Week 3, the game I was at, when Washington game, Jaden Daniels outplayed that so-called MVP quarterback and dog walked your defense effortlessly. The game was close because you scored 2 garbage touchdowns that no longer mattered. Of course, you got outplayed by Lamar Jackson. Couldn't win to Kansas. You lost at home to Pittsburgh once already, where basically your offensive line couldn't stop the defensive front of Pittsburgh, who did anything and everything they wanted to. Finally, mind you, also, Pittsburgh didn't have Alex Highsmith the first time. He's going to be coming over this time. And you know what happened the last time Alex Smith matched up with Orlando Brown Jr.? It's all over the highlight reels last season. Everybody knows. And don't think for 1 second Mike Tomlin does not want to end the Bengals season on his turf, on that game, on that night, because that's going to happen. I hope I'm wrong. I would love to come back and say I'm wrong, but I don't think it's going to be the case. Because Pittsburgh, they still have whatever shot it is to win the AFC North. Should Cleveland some way somehow beat Baltimore? But of course, they're playing for the 5 seed because they would rather play at Houston over going to Baltimore, because we saw what just happened when they went to Baltimore not too long ago. Don't think that's fresh in Mike Tomlin's mind or the Steelers coaching staff. They're going to be ready to beat Cincinnati, eliminate them, and they're probably going to go to Houston for their first playoff game more than likely. It's probably the best thing that could happen because you don't have to worry about being on pins and needles about relevant football on Sunday. You guys just evaporate in thin air to irrelevancy. I'm talking about all you fans in Cincinnati that when I met in person on week 3, 2 of the so-called super fans on these social media platforms, and of course the media people and the so-called content creators like Joe Goodberry, Zim, Captain, and some of the idiots in the news stations here. I'm talking about LWT Channel 5, WCPO Channel 9, Fox 19, and WKRC Channel 12. How you guys conduct yourselves. And of course, people like Mo Egger and Sarah L.C., who's just an absolute bunch of senile small brain morons. And of course, the one that came at me earlier, Ben Baby, who has no leg to stand on when it comes to me, so he needs to flat out shut up. Your season is done. Best bet is to hope the Pittsburgh beats you so you guys can just rest up and clear your minds and get ready for next season. Which brings me to the topic around here about next season. Now we have 2 wide receiver conundrums over here that's going on. We know the first one with T. Higgins. What are they going to do with him? Well, let's start with this. They can franchise him if they want to, which is what I expect to happen. Is he going to play in the franchise tag? Who knows? Is he going to get an extension? Who knows? Are they going to trade him? Who knows? One thing I do know, that value of his went up in that game against Denver Saturday night because he just lit up Riley Moss. And as Riley Moss said, he ate himself a bunch of poop sandwiches that day. And basically T. Higgins force-feed poop sandwiches down his throat. He said another word. I'm not going to use it here on this platform. He's more likely to be on the tag at least. I'd be surprised if he plays on the tag because I can't see him betting on himself for a second straight season, given having missed, I think, like 6 or 7 games already this season. I can't see him playing on the tag for a second. Joe Burrow called this out perfectly last week, calling out the Bengals front office to simply put, get a deal done, get it done now. They had a chance to get it done a couple times and they blew it. I mean, what's it going to take? Probably some financial creativity, which we know the Bengals front office lacks financial creativity. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to go about doing it. It's been that way for 30 plus years. That's why the Hub Pub has been here ever since. I keep hearing that they're going to change. They're the new Bengals. Until my two eyes see it, it's still the same. My guess is either he's going to play on a contract next season. He's not playing on the franchise tag. He's not going to bet on himself twice. He did it once, probably in his mind, one time too many. He says he wants to stay. Team says they want to keep him. I mean, should it be easy to make a deal? What's a holdup? But he's going to play on a contract, whether it be in Cincinnati or somewhere else, because his value went up. And after that performance against Denver Saturday night, someone is going to have to pay him rather ransomly. I mean, the guy probably wants to be among the top paid wide receivers in the NFL, which is what I expect him to be. And if he wants that much money, there are teams he could probably go to outside of Cincinnati. I mean, New England's talking about wanting him. Picture him in Washington opposite Terry McLaurin. Give Daniels another target. Send him to the Chargers. Picture Justin Herbert and those long passes to him. If the Bengals aren't going to cough up the dough to pay T. Higgins, somebody will. Maybe the good thing out of this is if you franchise him, you're going to probably net a good draft package out of him because somebody will overcompensate to get him, which I thought they should have done that after losing to Kansas City in the 2022 AFC title game, because this was going to be the issue here coming up in the 2025 offseason. What happens? Who knows? They'll at least tag him. I guarantee you, I'd be surprised if he plays on the tag. I wouldn't be surprised if he's here or somewhere. He's going to be on a contract next year. I can't see him playing on the tag next season. That's which is crazy for him to bet on himself for a second straight season. I mean, he did it once. Maybe it's just one time too many. The players want him there. I know he wants to stay. They'll probably get something done. Hopefully the front office listens, because even Joe Burrow called it out. We'll see what happens. And of course, speaking of the wide receiver conundrum, there's another one that took place just minutes ago. It was announced that Jermaine Burton was a healthy scratch again, because for whatever reason. I mean, nobody knows what the reasons are. All they're saying is coach's decision. Of course, the Bengals and many of the head coaches, that stuff, they keep it in the locker room. Maybe we find out down the line. Nick Saban told you guys when you guys drafted him, this was going to be the issue. And we had Bengals fans, again, being the small-brained morons that they are, acting like it wasn't going to be an issue. Nick Saban told you straight up what the issue was. Even he said, good luck to him and good luck to the Bengals. He called it. I know Zach Taylor celebrated when they drafted him, all the talent in the world, but when it comes to discipline, basically in the bottom barrel. I mean, there's a reason why he went to the third round. He basically was a first-round talent. He was the same way in Alabama. I mean, even Nick Saban said, I had issues coaching this guy because of it. When he was in Alabama, I guess there was a game against Tennessee where there was an incident with a female where he supposedly swung at her. I didn't see the footage, so I can't comment further. But it goes to the details where the Bengals drafted a receiver with character issues, which Bengals love going through every draft, finding one player with character issues. Joe Mixon, ring a bell? We know how that was. I don't know where this is going to go. A lot of people are ready to call for this guy's head. And there's some people are saying give this guy a chance. I'll just stay back and let the results play itself out, because they're going to have after Chase and Higgins. If they do re-sign Higgins and Jamar Chase, the wide receiver talent pool is going to be down in the gutter. Especially we consider the fact if they do re-sign both guys this offseason, it's going to take up a huge number of their cap space, and good luck trying to put together an adequate competitive roster around there. So we'll see where this one goes. Also, don't forget next season, Joe Burrow's cap hit is $49 million, which is going to create a whole lot of chaos in the offseason. But when it comes to Jermaine Burton, a lot of people are already giving up on the guy. Some people are saying give him another chance. We'll see what happens. I know they like the guy. And I know Zach Taylor was celebrating the day they fell to his lap in the third round in the 2024 NFL draft. So we'll see where that goes. We'll play that. I'm going to play that by ear. He's not going to be there at Pittsburgh. Sort of sad because against Denver, he had 2 to 3 solid kick returns to set up solid field position for the Bengals offense. And he actually was a solid returner at times like this season for them. I don't understand it. especially when you consider they still have something to play for tomorrow night at Pittsburgh. Which brings me to, speaking of Cincinnati, my favorite topic. The moronic so-called analysts with analytics and the stats and these advanced metrics they like to use to put their quarterback on the MVP conversation he has no business in. What the hell is your criteria? Can you explain it? You can type up all your stats on a number sheet. You can type them up on an Excel spreadsheet. You can type them up on Microsoft Word. You can write them down on a pen and paper. You can go ahead and write them down on a graffiti on a wall in Cincinnati because you guys like doing graffiti in Cincinnati. You can write it on a hat. You can write it on a fireplace. You can write it on a tree. Do you even know what the hell you've been talking about with these stats? Because about 90 to 95% of you don't. You guys trying to say he belongs in the conversation as Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson when he doesn't. I mean, forget Patrick Mahomes. He's up there right now. We can forget that. You guys try to simplify this ideology where he was the MVP and he belongs in the MVP conversation. He's had a phenomenal season stat-wise. I agree with that. You cannot deny that. I mean, the 40-plus TDs, I think he only has like 8 or 9 interceptions. The TD interception ratio, I'll acknowledge, sound. MVP candidates don't go 1-7 against winning teams. MVP candidates don't go 3-5 on their home field. MVP candidates don't, especially at the quarterback position, don't fumble the ball 10 times, lose 5 fumbles, and have 2 of those returned back for touchdowns. That's a conversation right there. And I see it now in the field of the debate between Pittsburgh and Cleveland with their edge rushers, T.J. Watt and Myles Garrett, and they're fighting over it again for the second straight season. I ask this again. What is the criteria you guys in Cleveland are using? I mean, we know Myles Garrett's a tough top edge rusher, but is he in the same category as T.J. Watt? I mean, I seen T.J. Watt just basically just make maybe 1 or 2 plays a game, but those 1 or 2 plays just change the whole dynamic of a whole game, and it's all she wrote for Pittsburgh. And he's done it on every position possible, interior, outside, even in the linebacker position. T.J. Watt, in my opinion, is the premier defensive player in the league. I mean, defensive player of the year, there's a lot of criteria for it. I see why they back him. I hear cases for guys like, I think Trent McDuffie of Kansas made a push. Of course, Pat Surtain in Denver. I can throw a few names out there. My mind's not processing at the moment. But all you idiotic gurus who wear the certain ties and glasses as big as my head, looking like the four-eyed geek nerds from the 80s, can you explain what your criteria is? We've been trying to ask you this for the longest time, and you still refuse to answer. Especially morons like Kay Adams, Kelsey Conway, Timo Rasmussen, the president of PFF, Sam Monson, Joe Goodberry, Ben Baby, just to name a few of you idiots who think these analytics mean everything when they really don't. Where do you come up with this? How do you explain it? And what are you using it for? I mean, right now, you guys are getting grilled when it comes to this, and I see it all over the place. As a guy who's a stats major himself from college, I'll tell you this right now. I wouldn't even be able to comprehend or at least try to even explain 90% of the stuff you guys try to do. I mean, what do you guys use? A calculator? What in the world do you guys use? I mean, third level mathematics software to put numbers in and boom, there's your answer. Like that moron Big Cat, whatever the hell that coward calls himself. Doesn't work. If you're going to use analytics, make sure you know what the hell you're talking about. Because as a stats major myself, I just sit and laugh at 90% of you guys who use these second tier, third tier, next gen stats, like idiot on ESPN, Laura Rutledge, whatever the hell her name is, and think that's the end all be all of everything. Stop. Just watch the game and forget about all that because they do nothing for anybody's argument. If you want to use it for fantasy talk, have at it. If you can't interpret stats for what they really are, and if you can't interpret to understand what you are trying to say, don't use them. This is coming from a stats major himself. I mean, I have this to prove it. That's where I got my degree in business administration with a minor in statistical analysis. I mean, if I want to school you guys, I can if I want to. But since you guys like to be internet cowards, the names I mentioned, I'm not even going to partake. So I'll probably talk more about this as the season wears on, especially the offseason, because 90% of you guys are going to use this to determine who's the MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, rookie of the year, yada, 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 yada. I'll wait till that time comes because I'll find the loophole and I'll shoot it. Nobody knows me like that yet. So that takes care of my football talk. For my NFL followers, I'm going to be on some spaces here in a little bit, talking more NFL, and I'll be going off on some topics regarding the NFL also. Because when I woke up this morning, I got the biggest laugh probably ever. We still have idiots overseas who think Tyson Fury was robbed against Oleksndr Usyk in the second fight, or thought the Tyson Fury-Oleksndr Usyk rematch was close. Please do me a favor. Get off this app. Go to the local hospital. I don't care what part of the world you're in. Check into the emergency room. Get checked for CTE. And if they ask why, tell them it's because you think Tyson Fury was robbed by Oleksndr Usyk. Get the results. Bring them to me so I can help you. Tyson Fury did not win more than 3 rounds in that rematch against Oleksndr Usyk. I am sorry. If you think otherwise, something is wrong with you. Period. Basically, I guess it came out not too long ago. I guess a couple of days ago, I guess there was somebody who posted it that said, I guess secretly Tyson Fury was trying to survive the distance, given what happened to him in round 9 of the first fight. You guys remember the overhand left, and Tyson Fury wobbled like a useless drunk. And basically, the bell saved him. The ref saved him. Excuse me. And the end of the rematch, maybe 2 clear rounds, Fury won. A third round I gave him is a swing round. So 117, 111, 118, 110 is acceptable. Anything less or anything higher is not. Because it's a case of Tyson Fury didn't let his hands go. Oleksndr Usyk did. Oleksndr Usyk worked this guy's body from like rounds 2 through round 7. And when Fury would try to get 7, because of that body attack, he couldn't. Tyson Fury just got furied by Oleksndr Usyk before the fight, during the fight, and after the fight. Why? Because I told you all along, you're not going to out mind game Oleksndr Usyk. Fury is Fury. We know that. But you're not going to out mind game Oleksndr Usyk. So chill it with this ideology that Tyson Fury was robbed against Oleksndr Usyk, because he wasn't. And there was no way this Fury-Usyk fight was close. Usyk was the real winner, the clear winner. He was a clear winner the first time. He was a clear winner again. Nothing you can do about it. The results official, signed, stamped, sealed, delivered, out of here. Congratulations, Tyson Fury fans. You made yourselves look like morons again, because your boy got dog walked for the second straight fight by Oleksndr Usyk. And as I said all along, that rematch wasn't even close. Maybe because Fury decided to resort to survival skills to survive the distance, he didn't get knocked out, because Usyk was setting up for that overhand left all fight long, the one that hurt him in round 9. I thought he was going to do it, but Fury just didn't want anything to do with it. Fury lost both fights fair and square. Learn how to deal with it. It won't kill you guys. Plain and simple. And I'm done with Fury fanboys, because right now, you have unfinished business with Francis Ngannou. Forget Anthony Joshua. You have unfinished business with Francis Ngannou. Take care of that first before you open your mouths. I'll deal with that later. Of course, everybody's favorite topic, and I'm going to destroy this here in a minute because it's starting to get a little nerve-wracking, is why we have so many idiots in the boxing community so sick-headed obsessed over wanting Canelo Alvarez to fight Terence Crawford. I'm talking from both fan bases. Here's the thing. You're wanting a super middleweight to fight basically an overblown junior welterweight. Why? What's accomplished by this? Because if Canelo Alvarez, who's basically 3 divisions up, in my opinion, I think he should dog walk Terence Crawford. What does Canelo Alvarez prove? Nothing. If Terence Crawford wants to go up to 150, thinks he can make the 168, you think he's actually going to make it and be effective? Probably not. We have about 90% of you guys in the boxing community need to flat out shut up when it comes to this particular fight, and I mean it deep. Because it speaks to a bigger picture of why I quit dealing with a bunch of you guys for the longest time. You guys want some of the most moronic stuff, the most idiotic stuff in the boxing community, these crazy off-the-chain fantasy matches. First, it was Tank Davis versus Naoya Inoue, which makes 0 sense. And now you want this? You guys like some of the most senseless stuff in the boxing community. It's absolutely ridiculous. I almost said another word. I'm not going to use a platform for it, but I would love to say it to your face. Because you guys want a nonsensical fight between 2 guys who are basically 2 to 3 divisions apart, because it feels you feel the psychological and psychotic need to be happy for, because a deep hatred for the other guy. Canelo fans have a deep hatred for Terence Crawford. I know this. I seen you guys. Don't try me. And of course, Crawford fans have the sick hatred for Canelo Alvarez. Again, I seen it. Don't try me. I know it. Here's the problem. You either one's going to have to drop significant weight, or one's going to have to put on significant weight. Good luck with that. I mean, if they can agree to some form of a catch weight, and they can make it, fine. But until then, please shut up when it comes to this fight, because there are better fights to worry about. There are better opponents for both fighters to worry about. And right now, this is even worth talking about. If it happens, we'll entertain it. But anyone who's still sick-headed, obsessed with wanting this fight to happen, being Canelo Alvarez and Terence Crawford, I don't know what the hell to say to you. And we're talking sick-headed, obsessed up here in the worst way possible. That's why I walked out of the community once before, years back, because you want some of the stupidest and most moronic, nonsensical stuff when it comes to all of this. Now you guys want a Canelo-Crawford match? For what reason? What do we gain out of it? Not even arranged to even talk about this. Some of you guys need to get checked as bad as Tyson Fury fans right now if you want this fight, because this makes next to no sense. That's why I didn't even bother talking about it. I mean, Terence Crawford barely made 154, didn't look all that great when he beat Madrimov. Canelo's the 68, 75 range. He can do whatever the heck he wants. I mean, you guys grilled him for supposedly ducking David Benavidez. Wonder was David Benavidez, the coward that he is ducking Canelo Alvarez, because all he had to do was stay at 68 and activate his mandatory. He didn't have the balls to do that. Instead, he's up at 75, and he's going to fight David Morrell. So miss me with all of that. Good luck with a lot of your hypocrisy and a lot of your fantasizing, because it's coming grotesque and it's becoming borderline psychotic. That's what it is. Now to the subject of Canelo Alvarez. Yes, now everybody's talking about who's his next opponent going to be. You know, I heard Christian and Billy. Someone, I guess, mentioned William Skoll, the fake super middleweight champ. He can do whatever the heck he wants, okay? If you have a problem with Canelo Alvarez fighting, then you don't like the sport, period. I mean, he can do whatever he wants. There's a reason why he's the cash cow. There's a reason why, he's the marketing ploy right now. I mean, what the heck can you say? He can fight anyone he chooses, whether you like it or not. He can guarantee the purse of his choice, whether you like it or not. And if you have a problem with it, don't watch. That's where I lost you guys a long time ago. You guys don't know how to freaking just leave him be and just move on. You guys have such, especially the Canelo haters out here, have this grotesque, sick head obsession of wanting him to do something that pleases you. And I don't know how the hell to describe it or describe you guys right now. I mean, what's the other option up there? Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, you guys don't want to see Canelo Alvarez fight Chris Eubank Jr. I mean, David Benavidez had his chance. He ducked it to go to 75. So don't even try me with any of that. Some of you guys need cleansed with your morals and your personal vendettas when it comes to certain fighters in the boxing community, especially when it comes to Canelo Alvarez, and I'll even add Terence Crawford, because a lot of you guys have that also. Your brains need cleansed in the worst way possible, seriously. But I don't know who's Canelo's going to fight next. He's, of course, the May, every May and September is his date, for the Hispanic and Mexican communities. Again, he can fight whoever he wants because he can make all the money he wants right now. I mean, everybody's talking about him moving up, probably fighting the winner of the Bivol Better Beef 175-pound rematch. Probably the only option for him if he wants to keep his legacy, which I don't think he has anything left to prove at this point. But, he can go anywhere he wants, whether you guys like it or not. And if you have a problem with it, too bad. Deal with it. Otherwise, shut up and get out. Follow another profession. And on the topic of Canelo Alvarez, of course, the hub with him is his place among the greats of Mexican fighters. And I tell you that the Mexican deep greatness of all-time greatness, very, very deep. I mean, we know the obvious ones: Julio Cesar Chavez Sr., Salvador Sanchez. A guy that doesn't get talked about enough, but I think should, is Ricardo Finito Lopez. The reason why he's not talked about is because he campaigned in the strawweight division that nobody knows about, but retired undefeated. I think it was like 49-0-1 or something like 51-0-1 or something like that. I don't remember. Of course, you go back to a guy like Ruben Oliveras. I mean, the mighty warrior Daniel Zaragoza's in there. I mean, if you remember him, rugged warrior of a southpaw stance, had a lot of great fights himself. Miguel Canto's another one. You have to go way back with him. Of course, the 2000s, we had, of course, Eric Morales, Marco Antonio Barrera, Juan Manuel Marquez. And, of course, who could forget Lupe Pintor's another great one. They had the great fight with Wilfredo Gomez that was basically fight of the year material. Canelo Alvarez is in that conversation, definitely. How you rank him, I'm not partaking. That's up to you guys. But we talk about the great Mexican fighters and their place in history. Deep pool. I mean, for me, the gold standard is still Chavez, Sanchez, Ricardo Lopez, and Juan Manuel Marquez. Ruben Oliveras just on the outside. I think Canelo's going to, by the end of his career, could get in that conversation and seriously challenge it and contest it. But that's my gold standard. The thing I've always liked about Mexican fighters, and I can pretend it's more to Marco Antonio Barrera's career because he was a perfect example of this. Not only do they have the heart and the passion, the deep will, and of course the iron chin, which basically all of these guys have. Their skill level is second to none, and they find a way to match will and skill in some of the most crazy ways I've ever seen. I mean, I could trace back actually to my time when, of course, the first fight between Julio Cesar Chavez and Meldrick Taylor. Controversy aside for a second, the controversial stoppage. I mean, Meldrick Taylor's winning the fight. Julio just kept coming and coming and coming and coming. There's one example. The trilogy between Marco Antonio Barrera and Eric Morales, a top 5 all-time great trilogy, obviously, because both guys just went in that ring and just threw down. They didn't care about skill or will. They wanted to put themselves on Mexican supremacy, and both fighters did during that trilogy. Of course, in a Juan Manuel Marquez, he beats Barrera, has a great 4-fight series with Pacquiao. Of course, before my time, the late Salvador Sanchez, who probably would have had the greatest resume ever had it not been for the tragedy, because he was staring at major money fights against Hector Camacho, Alexis Arguello, Eusebio Pedrosa, and would probably had a cross-Mexican showdown with Chavez, because he was going to go up to lightweight, and they were going to have to clash at some point. I mean, and the list goes on and on and on. And Canelo Alvarez is definitely in that conversation. A lot of you say he's not. That's just stupid. His accomplishments and record speak for itself. I'll tell you, I've always enjoyed watching Mexican fighters, probably more than a bunch of these other ones in recent years, because they lay it all on the table and they put will and skill, put it together, and it is a thing of beauty. And I've always said when it comes to Ricardo Lopez, probably the most beautiful fighter in those super little weight divisions I've ever seen. The only reason he didn't get any hup was because nobody knew about the strawweight division unless you're one of those deep diehard fans. Nobody knew about him because of it. The only reason why people sort of knew him was because Don King, say what you want about Don King, but he had all those pay-per-views. He did a great job making sure he was on that for the world to see. And he didn't have people say he won't have the quality win. Of course, he tried to get Michael Carbajal a couple of times, but Carbajal was on his downturn, had a couple bad losses on his way out. And the Ricardo Lopez-Michael Carbajal fight never transpired. Of course, when I speak of Michael Carbajal, another great Mexican, I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about him, is the standout Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez, whose first fight with Michael Carbajal was probably the greatest light flyweight fight in boxing history in that weight class. He decked Carbajal twice. Carbajal got up, stopped him in the 7th round. 1993 fight of the year, in my opinion. Humberto Chiquita Gonzalez, a well-accomplished light flyweight from Mexico himself. I'd be remiss if I didn't even mention him. Deep pool among the great Mexican fighters. All I had to say is ole, ole, ole. I mean, I can go even deeper to even a guy like Miguel Canto from way back when, and he's definitely in that conversation. Daniel Zaragoza probably didn't quite crack that top 10, but always brought excitement in those divisions. Got a great win over Wayne McCullough in 97, beat Thierry Jacob, who was a stand-up fighter. Of course, unfortunately, the world lost Jacob not too long ago. But another sound fighter of the Mexican Latin American community. Very rugged, very experienced, very savvy of the southpaw stance, tough out for anyone. I mean, Eric Morales had to be on his best to beat Zaragoza when he did in 97. That tells you how deep the Mexican pool was. And Daniel Zaragoza also in that conversation. Lots of great guys in the Mexican community, I'm telling you. I can have a whole 1 hour show about the great Mexican fighters if I want to. It's up to you guys. And as I wrap up this show tonight, I'm going to look forward to change a few things. I'll be having a new streaming service. I'm going to have a new upgraded equipment. I'm going to still be doing lives right in front of my fireplace. I'm going to be much different. But one thing that I will stay the same with me, because I guess Ben Baby had a problem with me with this. I'm not going to lie for anybody. I'm not going to lie because you guys want to hear what you want to hear. If I think your opinion is not the greatest, I'll say it. I did that once today already, and I will not stop saying it. It's plain and simple. Man, I have a few days to kill because we snowed in and iced in because, it's supposed to be in the teens for the next 10 to 15 days here in Cincinnati. I think we'll talk about like the temperatures at 5 of like Wednesday and Thursday, which, I'm going to be off from my job for, which I'll be able to be sleeping in and snowed in, but I also have this thing kicking. So I'll find ways to survive. If you're out in the part of town where you're going to get blizzarded and snowed in, because I heard it's like a streak in the Midwest, like parts of northern Kentucky and like some areas in the Midwest. If you're living there, try and stay warm and stay safe as much as possible, because this weather is not for anyone of the weak mind. I mean, I had a snow in my driveway one summer when the wind chill was way below. I had to quit after 5 minutes because, man, I felt it. I mean, my hands were turning red and I couldn't feel anything for about 10 minutes. I was that cold. So stay safe, stay warm in this time of year. That's all I got to say. And that will wrap up this edition of Sirhan on X, a warm and cozy and fuzzy edition while the cold weather starts to kick in. I hope everyone has themselves a wonderful rest of the night. And my favorite thing to tell everybody, always, always, always make self-care your number one priority in life. That's what I got to say. Nothing else. You always put yourself first. Nothing else matters. Always put yourself first. I did that myself for many, many years. I'll let the result speak for itself. Until then, have yourselves a wonderful night. Take care and God bless.